All right, boys and girls, this is Mr. Sepulveda with the first 2023-2024 science notebook check, okay? And so we've pretty much completed through our entire first unit. Inside our notebooks, we've got our title page, Unit 1, Living Organisms, with anything that comes to mind when we think about living organisms. We drew the pictures. We also colored them, okay? Then after that, we've got our 2 pages of table of contents. I decided to skip the left page for most of them unless I started gluing things in there. So you'll see that I split them up differently. But these are the titles for these pages, okay? And then here's the other set of notes. We stopped at page 24. And then we have 2 big idea pages that have answers to these questions that we have. And these are big essential questions that help answer the essential questions for standards 5.L.1 and 5.L.2, which essentially just deals with unicellular organisms, multicellular organisms, how they survive, what's their similarities, what's their differences, and about the body systems working together. And so these are the other half of the questions. Then we go straight into page number 1 about cells. We talked about what cells are. We talked about life processes or life functions of cells. We drew some examples of what that might look like. Then we also went into understanding multicellular, unicellular, and specialized cells. And we kind of named a couple and drew a couple there. We have page 2 that has animal cells on it. So if I kind of turn my paper that way, you can kind of see all the different parts right over there. It's probably better if I move my notebook, I guess. Here's page 3 with the plant cells and the organelles that make up plants, okay, and what they do. And essentially we learned that all these organelles are similar to the life processes, right? Page 4 was Bill Nye cells. So once you watch the Bill Nye video, you kind of go ahead and fill in all of the blanks, okay? Then we've got page 5, what do the organelles do? So these were important organelles, and these were their functions and what they do. We created page 6, which were our cell nicknames. So we kind of figured out if they were part of plants or animal cells, right? Or both. And then we looked at we came up with nicknames because we already had the functions on the last page, and so we kind of came up with nicknames to kind of remember them. So that's page 6. Page 7 is all about unicellular organisms. They're drawn, supposed to be colored. I'll get that colored in before the next video. And these were guided notes, so all the students had to do was kind of fill in all the missing blanks. All the slideshows for these are still going to be on my website. So in case you're missing any of those, you can find all that information there. Page number 8 is the same deal, except we didn't draw pictures here because we already knew the examples of humans, plants, animals, and insects. So that was our multicellular organisms, page number 8. Page number 9 is where we either made a Venn diagram or just 3 columns or 3 rows that break down the information between unicellular versus multicellular and what they had in common. And so what they have in common is what they're made of and all the life functions that they undergo. Okay. Page 10 was all about levels of organization, and this is where we entered into our second half of the first unit. And so we built up from cells to tissues to organs, organ systems, and then finally organisms. Page 11, mine's not filled in, but this was about that yarn activity, that digestive yarn activity, where we learned about the different parts of the digestive system, how long they are, and what they do. Here's a better picture of the digestive system, fully labeled out, colored in on page 12. Page 13, we just added in this page today, actually, right, with all the different digestive parts. Colored it in just to make it pop so that our eyes kind of get drawn. But these are both going to be page 13 over here. And these are digestive system notes. And the reason they're both 13 is because anytime we have a title, all the information is going to be part of the same page. So all the students should be on the exact same page. So everyone's page 13, no matter how many pages it takes up, will be digestive system notes. Page 14 is our circulatory system, veins and arteries. So we got to talk a little bit about that, about whether we're carrying too much deoxygenated blood, so that's carbon dioxide, or oxygen-rich blood with oxygen. We talked about how we can remember arteries are the blood vessels that carry blood away from the heart, and the veins are the ones that bring it back. We talked about the necessary circulatory system. This is page 15. We read a little passage. We answered these questions. We found evidence in here. We highlighted where all that information can be found. Circulatory system notes is page 16. This one was also guided notes. So again, there's a slideshow. Students had to fill in all the blanks that we had that go with it. Page 17 is our respiratory system notes, also very much guided notes. There's very few things to fill up on this, but had a lot of information. We learned about the parts, the purpose, function, right, and how it works together with other systems. Okay. Page 18, this one for me is 2 pages. Ended up drawing a picture of a lung model that we created in class using a cup, straw, balloons, and clay. So I kind of labeled them up. And then here's the diagram that goes with it. If the students don't have this part, that's fine. As long as they have this, and we're learning how they connect to the circulatory system through the alveoli, that's important, and how we understand that when the diaphragm contracts, meaning that it pulls down, we're able to inhale oxygen, and when it relaxes, which means back to its state like this, we're exhaling the carbon dioxide. We're removing that waste. So that's page 18. Page 19, again, mine's going to be 2 pages. This is our nervous system notes. We took some notes on the purpose, the parts of it. I ended up drawing a picture over here because we know that it's about receiving information, responding to it, but how does it do it? It does it through its 5 senses, so I drew some little pieces of info here. We got some notes from Miss Riegelman. These notes, we filled in some of these blanks on here, so you guys can see those. That's linked into my Canvas page on the bottom of the buttons. And then we got our little nervous system diagram over here that tells us a little bit more about some of the parts as well. So that's all page 19. Page 20, muscular system notes again, you'll see purpose. This one has the types of notes. I'm highlighting because things are going to be important like involuntary control versus voluntary control. And then we went ahead and added Ms. Riegelman's notes today as well. So this is also from today's lesson. Okay, so that's page 20. Page 21 dealt with the 5 functions of the skeletal system. I drew examples for all 5 of those. Some of the kids might not have it, but I figure having the pictures kind of helps. And we also added in Ms. Riegelman's notes here a little bit further about the skeletal system notes. So again, that's page 21. Page 22, this was our body systems review. We had all the systems. We had to write down either all the main organs or parts of the system, and then what their role was in the human body. So that's page 22. Page 23 was really important. This is our body systems interaction chart. And so if I want to find out how the nervous system connects to the muscular system, I'll just kind of go across this way. Or I can go from the nervous system on this side down to the muscular system on that way. So I can kind of see 2 different ways on how they connect. This also helps out with what the students are doing on page 24, which happens to be their body systems as superheroes or supervillains project. We talked about all this at length. There's a PowerPoint there to kind of further explain what the assignment's about, what they're responsible for writing, what they're responsible for drawing, and where all the explanation comes from. So all of that is on Canvas. Hope this was really good. So if your notebook looks like mine, then you guys are doing a really good job, especially if you're titling, numbering, and keeping organized with this work. All right, guys, so I'll see you in another notebook check when we get to Unit 2.